Our tournament finale is coming up next. It is Luke Griffith taking on Mason Fowler here in Las Vegas. Luke Griffith, a last-minute replacement, making the walk tonight. And sometimes those short notice opportunities, like you were mentioning, you can really, lead to huge things. And for Griffith, just about 24 hours ago, he didn't even know he was going to be in this tournament. Now he's taking the map for the third time.
Well, you've seen it over and over again in the UFC. When somebody steps in on short notice and steps in and delivers, people love that. People love somebody who's ready to go at all times. And Luke Griffith, he stepped into this tournament late, but he didn't step into the grappling scene for the first time just now. He's been out here wrecking people, all kinds of different competitions, all kinds of different rule sets. So he belongs on this stage against Mason Fowler.
Let's see what he can do here in our tournament finale as Luke Griffith is ready to go here inside the UFC Apex. Mason Fowler, no stranger to the bright lights, a submission underground champion and one of the bigger favorites here. Claudia, he, was tabbed to do big things in this tournament, and so far, so good. We'll see what he has here. Your thoughts on the performances tonight thus far of Mason Fowler?
Oh, he looked amazing out there, and like we were just saying, he was just talking about, there is no pressure walking into this without even athlete in his level is always ready to go, right? Like he's always training in the highest level, and that's what we see happening in MMA and jiu-jitsu, and that's what I love about him. Like he came out here and it's like beating everybody, looking really good, look amazing.
And he's confident, Michael. He's got that composure because he's a champion of other promotions, and he belongs right in that spotlight.
Yeah, he's been competing at a high level for a very long time, but it's always interesting when you're going against a young upstart, somebody that not a lot of people are super familiar with. We've only seen the tip of the iceberg for Luke Griffith, so it's going to be interesting to see how does Fowler approach this young athlete.
Our stage is set for this tournament finale. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape between Mason Fowler and Luke Griffith. Fowler, 8 years the elder of Griffith. Griffith will have a 10-pound advantage in the weight department. To get this one officially started, for our introductions, we throw it to Justin Bernard.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the absolute tournament finale, scheduled for 8 minutes plus overtime. Introducing to you first, holding a semifinal victory over Oliver Taza. Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Griffith. His opponent stands across the mat, holding a semifinal victory over Patrick Gaudio. Ladies and gentlemen, Mason Fowler. And when the action begins, your referee in charge, Master Victor Davila.
Here we go, our tournament finale of this absolute tournament. Mason Fowler taking on Luke Griffith.
Bypass Invitational 3 for $25,000. Mason, are you ready? Sir. Luke, are you ready? Timer ready? Let's go, Jiu-Jitsu.
TJ DeSantis, Brandon McCaffrey, Michael Chiesa, Kalonji Gadelia. Matt side here inside the UFC Apex. Luke Griffith takes a seat.
Griffith pulls guard right away. Mason has looked phenomenal. He's used his passing to move around to the north-south position against his opponents tonight, but he's not going to be able to move through Griffith's guard that easily. A much longer opponent, and of course, coming out of that new wave camp, he's going to be super ready for the pressure that Mason brings.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to go back to the same game plan that he had in the first match. He wants to get inside position on Griffith's knee shield with that right hand, try to get to that underhook, and that's going to open up those opportunities to pass like we saw in that last match. And I like the wrist control. He's going against a bigger. That was beautiful. I mean, his passing is so fast. I mean, it's just all of Mason's movements are very athletic, very fast, very powerful.
Yeah, he does a great job of changing speed and changing direction. That's how you get open. You got to get the guy going with you, change speed, change direction. That's how you get your opening. He's keeping those hips down low, trying to stop this inverted guard recovery here from Griffith. Nice play.
Nice way to keep your hips high to control the scramble. I mean, if he would have let Griffith's hips get above him, he'd he mounted, he'd be in a very disadvantageous position. But high hips win in the scramble when these grappling exchanges.
And Fowler already starting to isolate an arm over here on the left side of Griffith. He's used this to great effect so far tonight. He keeps that right arm checking the hip. That stops the easy guard recoveries from Griffith.
You know, and while Griffith might be the bigger athlete, Mason's using, it just looks like he has more man strength. It just looks like he's just got a much more physical presence than Griffith does in this match.
I totally agree with that. Not just in this match, but, you know, just the entire tournament so far. Something interesting right here out of Cal Terra, who's in the corner of Mason Fowler, of course, his coach. Griffith is framing there and really pushing against the body of Mason Fowler. And Terra goes, don't worry about his frame. His frame is going to get tired. And so he's just forcing him to wear the body weight and hopefully create an exposure.
And we've seen that earlier from Fowler, who was very patient in the Pat Chigoli fight. He's a guy that will get that position and really wear on you until you make a mistake.
Man, I'm still just thinking about that guard pass.
It was fast.
He was very fast.
Such a good hip switch. And now it's all about control for Mason Fowler. He wants to keep control and start to inch his way into position. You see how he takes his right leg? He's trying to go up underneath the arm of Griffith, and that's forcing Griffith to push against him, and that's exactly the position that Cal Terra was talking about. His frame is going to get tired if you force him to do that.
It looks like he's trying to get Griffith's right arm between his legs and pinch it and almost lean off and like lean his weight towards Griffith's head. Something I've never really seen before. You see what I'm saying here? Like, he's trying to pinch it between his thighs to open him up.
Yeah, I think he's going to look to isolate that, maybe pin it down with one of his shins so that he can step around and move into a north-south Kimura position on this other side.
Like that right arm check on the hip.
Yeah, stopping the guard recovery. And Mason may be thinking about sliding into a mount right here. I think he's probably better served staying over here and just cooking him for a second. Elbow really isolated now for Griffith.
Yeah, he's got a nice scoop on it for sure. Look at what he's doing with that arm.
Oh, into a front headlock.
Got a bite on it.
And a good recovery by Griffith.
But look at that.
Wow.
I loved the way that he controlled the crown of Griffith's head as he was coming around. Not that he grabbed the neck, but if you grab the top, if you grab the crown of your opponent's head, it's easier to curl their chin to their chest. It's a display of athleticism and man strength.
And just technique, right?
And technique.
Technical prowess,
yes,
too,
for sure. It's just he's able to do everything faster. He's just a step ahead right now.
Past the halfway point here of regulation, 3.5 minutes remain.
You know, Claudia, I know that, you know, your MMA competing days have been laid to rest, but would you ever want to get in there and grapple?
I don't have the desire anymore.
Yeah?
You know, like I just don't feel like my heart is in the game anymore.
Yeah?
Maybe in a few years, like Misha was out for 5 years,
right? Yeah.
She came back and she's doing really good.
Yeah, I'd like to see you grapple. You know, I know you're a high-level black belt.
I actually competed against Bia Mesquita in a brown belt and I lost by a 1 advantage.
What?
Yeah.
See? I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
Gi or no gi?
Gi. I want to see you out there too, man.
He does too. He wanted to get out there this tournament.
It was supposed to be me and Damian Maya, and I think that would have been quite the treat. That was the match that got away from me in terms of MMA. But you know, I'd love to get on the mats and scrap with him. But hey, at least I got to still sit here and hang out with you guys. But hey, Damian, if you're listening to this, I'd love to grapple with that someday.
Again, very patient here is Mason Fowler on top of Luke Griffith.
And you can tell that Luke does not like as his elbow starts to get isolated up above his shoulder line. That's the 2 times that we've seen big movements from him. He does not want to get stuck in that position. That pinch, just the control there.
Yeah. Very interesting. You know, I think it's smart for Mason to stay away from Luke's legs. It's much like we saw in his first match. Like, don't give your opponent an opportunity to slip in a half guard or get a butterfly guard. You know, put all your weight on his chest, wear out his arms, and keep yourself from having to deal with any type of leg entanglement.
Yeah, you can't let these good leg lockers, and Luke, make no mistake, Luke is an excellent leg locker. You can't let these guys get any ground underneath you. You can't let them have anything. They're going to start creating off balances. And then the next thing you know, Your leg is isolated. You're starting to get ripped on. Even if you survive, a lot of times you have to survive and take a little damage to do it.
You know, I wonder if, you know, given that Luke, you know, his first 2 matches were against the 2 smallest competitors, I wonder if there's some type of shock value in going from the 2 smallest guys to having to go against a guy as physical as Mason Fowler.
Look at that. So Mason goes to the mount. And now look, Mason getting back into his rubber guard again. We saw him get the finish from this position in his second matchup, and we've seen Mason, if you keep up with his career, he is a very good rubber guard player. He uses this all the time. He's now clearing the head against Griffith, moving into the chill dog position.
The what?
Call that chill dog.
Okay.
I'm so out of tune with the 10th planet terminology. But nonetheless, it's effective.
You wouldn't believe what we call this one.
I don't even know if it's
It may
Yeah,
not
can
be
you say it
safe-
on TV?
Maybe
Yeah.
not safe for work.
yeah. Well, we don't have human resources.
But look how he's getting that elbow out of position. That's not going to be a submission in and of itself, but he could use that pull on the elbow there to break the grip because Luke is just holding on for dear life.
Yeah, and if I'm Mason, I'd want to sell out and try to get the sub because you go to overtime and all this work that you put in and how much you've dominated this match, it's almost a wash now because now you go to overtime, and overtime's essentially a new match.
Right.
Oh,
in
look
itself.
at this. Starting to create an opening on the inside space.
Short time, though. Regulation is going to expire. We will call upon overtime to find a winner here at the Fight Pass Invitational.
He really had Griffith on the run that entire match. Even when he found himself on his back, he had Griffith just holding on for dear life there.
Yeah.
And now Griffith going to get a shot at the back of Fowler here to start the first overtime.
Ready?
TJ DeSantis, Brandon McCatherine, Michael Chiesa, Claudia Gadelia, and Master Vic, the referee,
Go!
saying, hold on, guys. Not quite yet, but now we're underway.
Mason did a good job creating a little bit of separation between his back and the chest of his opponent.
Yep. He's got his hip square to the mat. Nice. Scrape.
He's out of there.
Wow. Nice scrape.
Very quick escape there for Mason Fowler. He now will go on offense here in the bottom of the first overtime.
Hands on the chest.
Mason is very, very good right here. We saw him on Submission Underground just mow through people. Really good people, including Craig Jones, multiple times in this overtime rule set. He goes to the body lock, and sometimes he'll lock it on the bottom. Right here, he
might
goes to
have
the single ride.
Looks like he's got a face crank here.
He's going to test him out, see what he's made of.
Oh, he's squeezing
He's
here.
burning him up.
Oh, nicely done. Griffith able to get out of that hard crank.
I like how he does the single hook.
Yeah, a
I
lot
like-
of times that's the best way to control the rotation.
I honestly think it is because it keeps your opponent from being able to scrape your shoulder blades and your hips to the mat and turn into you. I always preferred that ride in wrestling, and to say like
Nicely done. Now headed to the top of the second overtime. Griffith back on offense. He elects to take the back once again to Mason Fowler.
Hands on the chest. Is your defense on point? Yeah. Is your offense on point? Is the right.
So by my unofficial count, Luke had about a 12-second ride. Mason had about a 30-second ride. So there is about, let's call it 17, 18 seconds of difference between them.
Wait, relax.
These guys,
jockeying for position.
yeah, arguing a little bit here.
A lot on the line, man. $25,000 in the jiu-jitsu world's a lot.
Yeah.
All right, if this were a football game, I think we just had 30 yards and false starts, but now we're underway.
And now Griffith able to get to a body triangle. But again, though, Mason able to create separation between chest and back, start to slide his back to the mat, and like you said, scrape him off of there.
Still got that body triangle,
He's
but
going to have to free
almost
the body triangle first.
impressive stuff there by Mason Fowler to turn in with that body triangle locked on. He would not be denied. Now he goes on offense.
He's doing a good job getting the first move.
Leave it to your left.
Overtime's all about who comes off the starting line
Hands on the
first.
chest. Hands on the chest. Give me your defense. Defense on point. Yeah. Offense on point. When I say go. Ready, set, go. Focus on the position. Focus on the position.
Mason again to that single hook ride.
I love that. Ooh, and this makes it almost better for Mason. Look at that.
Now, yes.
Oh, is he under the neck? No.
little bit of rotation, and he's free. Nicely done. Luke Griffith able to get free after just about 17 seconds. So now we're headed to the top of the third overtime.
Only about 15 seconds separates these two gentlemen heading into this final round.
Wait. Hooks in, hands on the chest.
You can feel the intensity start to really rise here inside the apex. A lot on the line here. This is our tournament finale. Luke Griffith on offense. And again, this is the top of the third overtime.
Mason again making that quick move.
It's all about getting off the starting line first. In terms of track, nobody gets off the blocks faster than Mason Fowler over time.
Wow.
That was his fastest escape of all three. That one about 6, 7 seconds.
Give it up, everybody. Let's go.
I'm looking at about 39 seconds of collective ride time for Luke versus already 47 for Mason. I think there's, mathematically, I just don't see a way that Luke can pull this one out.
Is your defense on point? Yeah. Is your offense on point? Time ready, set, go!
Mason Fowler in great position here in the bottom of the third.
Mason wants to send it home emphatically, though. He's not content.
Arm lock, now!
Maybe switching to the armbar now is able to be free. So we're going to have to add up the control time here to crown a winner. But, man, what a match. A great fight throughout.
Yeah, and, just dominated by Mason Fowler from start to finish.
Yeah, and for him, it's two matches and when you go into overtime, right? So for him to still maintain the same momentum and dominate the overtime round, just a sensational performance from Mason Fowler.
And that was his composure and pressure all night long from match one to the final. Mason Fowler knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he did just that. Timekeeper going to add up the ride time here to crown a winner, but
the EBI rules makes jiu-jitsu so exciting.
Yeah, you like it?
I love it.
And the crowd always seems to react well when we have the EBI, when it comes down to EBI overtime. Some of the biggest pops that you get out of the live crowd happen during the overtimes because it's just so easy to understand.
Yeah.
All right, the math has been done. To crown our winner, here is Justin Bernard.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 overtimes, your winner by fastest escape time with 21 seconds and UFC Fight Pass Invitational 3 Absolute Tournament Champion, Mason Fowler.
Mason Fowler getting it done in overtime. We go to fastest escape time, and he's able to get his hand raised and pick up the win here at the Fight Pass Invitational 3. He'll speak with Michael Chiesa.
I'm here with your absolute tournament winner, Mason Fowler. Mason, did you feel any pressure having to take on 2 of the youngest competitors in this 8-man bracket?
Yeah, definitely. All the pressure was on me in the first match against Pat because if I would have lost that match, people would have been making memes about me for the next 10 years. So there's a lot of probably more pressure on me than him in that match because he was expected to lose, right? And then obviously Luke is definitely going to be probably an ADCC world champ or like a black belt world champ. By the time he's 25, 26, he's only 20 years old, so he has a bright future ahead of him. And luckily I got him a little early while I could still beat him.
And I want to ask you about the tactics. When you head into a one-night tournament like this, do you game plan for each person you could possibly face, or was this performance all based on just feel in your prior training?
Yeah, we game planned a lot for Nicky Rod because we thought we were going to probably meet him in the finals on the other side of the bracket. But then it doesn't matter. Obviously he dropped out of the tournament, so you have to be ready to go against anyone at a moment's notice.
I know the 25 Gs is great, but how good does it feel to end this year on a high note and come out with the win throughout this tournament?
Yeah, definitely. I started the year off strong. I had a good performance at the Brasileiros earlier this year, and then I had a pretty bad performance at ADCC. So I really wanted to, that was my last competition, so really wanted to come out here and remind everyone of how good I am and make a statement.
Well, you did it. You made a very good statement. Everybody give it up for Mason Fowler.
Mason Fowler getting the win here tonight. He was the Fighter of the Year in 2020 for UFC Fight Pass, and tonight he closes out 2022 with a big win in the Fight